And now, making their way into the arena, hailing from the great pro wrestling state of Massachusetts, they are the hosts of the Top of the Cage podcast. Here are Bill and Juice.
And thank you again, Rich Palladino, the voice of New England, always making us sound so good. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is I am the super producer. I am Bill, joined always by my tag team partner, my wrestling confidant. He is the future booking genius and the prince of pro wrestling podcasts. He is Justin Juice Cannon.
Boom.
Boom, baby. Juice, this week we have on the podcast somebody whose name has been said plenty of times by the voice of New England, Rich Palladino. He is one half of the Miracle Generation. He is one half of the Wrestling Open Eliminator. I don't even know how to say it. I was
Eliminator Cup Tag Team Champions.
Eliminator Cup Tag Team Champions. He is Dustin Waller. Flush.
Excited to have him on. I'm a big fan of this guy. I said it in their interview. I kind of, even though he was a really humble guy, and I don't think he fully knows how big of a deal he is in New England, because I think I wasn't just kissing his ass. I meant it when I said that he's one of the staples of New England wrestling right now. Him and Kylon, but even just as a singles wrestler, it's hard to find a New England wrestling card that doesn't have him on it. And there's a reason on that. Bookers want him on because they know that he's going to go out and show out. It doesn't matter if he's in a tag team match or a singles match. He's going to bring it. And even the companies like GCW, bigger indie companies, see that too, because we've seen him on quite a few scramble matches. They're iconic scramble matches. He's been in 2 or 3 of them. So definitely big things are coming for this young wrestler that's really hitting his stride right now. 2022 has been his year, and I don't think he's going to slow down in 2023.
No, I completely agree. And he'll say later in the interview that he's not a goal person, but I can tell you right now that 2023 is going to be Dustin Waller's year. It's going to be the Miracle Generation's year, because Kylon's also great too. And, I'm just super excited for you guys to hear this interview. So we will not hold you back from it any longer. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Dustin Waller.
Hello, Top of the Cage listeners. I am Juice, joined by my tag team partner and co-host Bill, as always. And we have another interview for you. We have Dustin Waller himself, the one half of the Eliminator Cup Tag Team Champions over in Wrestling Open in Worcester. I have to say it like that. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on. Thank you.
Of course. And let's jump right into it. And how was it winning the first Eliminator Cup Wrestling Open Tag Team Championship tournament?
Yeah, that was pretty awesome, because that was the first ever tournament. It was the first time that championships would be announced at Wrestling Open. So it was definitely a cool concept, because always tag tournaments are always fun because they're always long. They always take a lot of time, whether it's weeks or months, because of the 16 teams. You can't jam all the matches into 1 week. So the fans look forward to seeing what's going to happen next, and they look forward to seeing who's going to win the tournament. And it was awesome to just be able to be in the tournament and to honor the eliminators. And if you guys watched our final match, we actually finished the match with total elimination, which was amazing. And shout out to Paul Crockett on commentary for absolutely going crazy. And yeah, it was awesome. It was really fun. It was a good moment, because they got the nice trophy, they got the medals, and it's different. It's not just the championship belt like everyone else has. It's a medal you walk out around your neck, and it's new, and I like it. I think it's a really cool concept, because whether people like it or not, it's still a championship.
Yeah, and how does it feel that Beyond and Wrestling Open, Drew's never been about the titles. It's all about the story and just the wrestlers going out there and banging out. But now you and Kylon are the Miracle Generation. You're the only champs there. How's it feel to be the only guys with the biggest targets on your backs?
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword at some points, because it's great because, like you said, Drew never really did championships at Beyond. Like, it was more just if there was something for someone to chase for, if there was going to be like a top guy or whatever you want to call it, then it kind of defeats the whole purpose. Everyone's got their own feuds. Everyone's at the same level, so I really enjoy that stuff. But I think it's cool to have the first champions be tag teams, because tag team wrestling hasn't always been looked at, equally to singles wrestling. And I think over this last year, 2022, like, tag team wrestling has just skyrocketed, and people have really began to fall back in love with tag team wrestling and like how much fun it really is. So I think it's great to be the first champions.
Yeah, in Wrestling Open, I feel like is a very tag team heavy sort of card. I mean, you guys have faced a long list of tag teams. You've also seen plenty of tag teams come in and out through it. So when the actual like tournament itself was announced, did you have like any idea what was going to happen, or was it kind of a surprise for you guys?
Oh yeah, we didn't even know the tournament was going to be a thing. We just knew that they had some ideas for, because we knew that like they enjoyed tag team wrestling a lot. Like, everyone over like, it started when me and Kylon first debuted at Beyond in Uncharted Territory, and we were the only tag team match on the card. And now sometimes there's 4, 5, 6 tag team matches, and it's cool to think that we had some kind of imprint on that, because we love tag team wrestling. Me and Kylon didn't start out as tag team wrestlers, but we got into it, and it's now it's one of our most favorite things to do ever. Like, we love singles, but tag team wrestling is just so much fun. There's so much more you can do, and there's just such a better aspect. So it was definitely cool when we saw the tournament announced, because that means that we'd have all these other teams that we'd be able to share the ring with and be able to wrestle that we never got to before.
So we talked about just the vast amount of tag teams that come out of Wrestling Open, and you even said that there's people you never faced before. Like, there's tag teams that appear there that I've never heard of, and I'm glad that opens the door to me. What are some teams that you didn't really know were on the radar until you got to share the ring with them at Wrestling Open or shared the card with them?
I wouldn't even say it's Wrestling Open. I would go all the way back to actually like the Wrestival of last year. We wrestled an Uncharted Territory. It was Above the Rest. It was Gabe Sky and Tristan Ty, who we know very well now. But at the time, we knew of them. We just never met them. We've never seen them wrestle before, and we'd never seen them wrestle as a tag team before. So that match was insane, because that was like one of me and Kylon's first few like tag matches like ever, and that was the match that we actually won the Beyond Wrestling Discovery Gauntlet last year. And that match was crazy, because after the match, fans were just throwing money in the ring, and that was a first and a last. No one's ever done that. Well, they've done that once after, so twice. It's crazy when like you see fans respect wrestling so much. So like, it's definitely, I would say, guys like Above the Rest, even the Graysons. We knew who the Graysons were. We just never been in the ring with them. Like, half the teams at Wrestling Open we've heard of, we've just never been able to share the ring with them. Even with like Stetson Ranch, we know them. We've never been able to share the ring with them. Like, even our brothers like the Haven, we know them too well, but we've really got to wrestle them at Wrestling Open. So there's a bunch of things that we've been able to do at Wrestling Open that we haven't before.
And you just mentioned the Haven. I know Justin told me that's one of the best Wrestling Open matches of the year. I myself didn't see it. Can you talk a little bit about what went into making that match? And Justin's rating highly of it, so I'm going to guess what made it such a success.
Yeah, that match, it was like it was very unexpected, because we were told that we were going to wrestle each other, and we were like, oh, okay, let's do it, I guess. And we just went absolutely crazy, because like, and people always say, when you wrestle people that you're comfortable with, it's going to be a 10 times better match than someone you don't know. Like, you always, for example, like the Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn's, they're best friends in real life. They're going to beat the daylights out of each other in the ring. It's actually more painful to wrestle your brothers, because they're going to kick the shit out of you. They really are. And that's what we did. We just absolutely just beat the dog shit out of each other and just went crazy. And we had no idea coming to the bat that was going to be the match of the year, the best match Wrestling Open's ever seen, that people were saying. Like, we had no idea. We just knew that we just gave it everything that we had out there. And I'm happy that people can say that it was the best match of the year, because it was so much fun.
So talk about just you guys being brothers with the Haven, how did the four of you become a faction and become, Miracle Generation as a whole?
Yeah, we started training together, all of us. I started training first, then it was the Haven that came in, and then Kylon. So we all really started around the same, 1-2 year range. And we all just hit it off like really quick because we're just young guys that really just loved wrestling and just wanted to wrestle and like nothing else. That's all we wanted to do. So like since I was a kid, all I wanted to do was wrestle. Like there's really nothing else that I've ever wanted to do. And the same thing goes for them. So Haven actually came in to be a tag team. So they started out as a tag team. They've only done tag team wrestling and they're starting to do some singles now. So me and Kylon started as singles. And we ended up joking around here and there. We're like, oh, it'd be cool if we can like be a group somewhere, do this and then do our thing here and there. But like it never really came together until we really did Wrestling Open, because when me and Kylon got on uncharted territory, we were asked like, oh, you have a tag team name? And we were like, no. We just had we just thought had our little faction that we have with the Havens, the Miracle Generation. So that's all we got. So we're just going to use it. So that was kind of just how it was born. And then having them come into Wrestling Open, and now the fans know them as Miracle Generation. And now people know the four of us as Miracle Generation, and promoters will hit us up and say, oh, can we get all four Miracle Generation and Miracle Generation? Like, it's really cool to see something that like we've built actually become something that used to be like a joke.
Yeah, and it's definitely unique. I mean, you don't hear about too many factions getting formed. That's like two team or a team and a team that kind of get put together. And you even said yourself, I mean, people are asking for it in booking. So like when you do get a booking that asks for all four of you, what's the dynamic like?
It depends what they want. Cause like sometimes people know me and Kylon as doing singles and they'll book us as singles competitors. Like Fight Life is a company in Rhode Island, and they've been putting me and Kylon predominantly as singles, which is fine because we love doing it, and they put Haven as the tag team, which is how it should be. But people enjoy having me and Kai as a team, and I enjoy having me as Kai as a team. So it's really whatever you want. They can do singles too. So really, we just say whatever you want is whatever, like, whatever you need is whatever you're going to get.
Bringing up Fight Life and your singles run. I mean, you've been facing guys like Oliver there, TJC recently, right? That was the last one.
Yeah.
What's your favorite of those matches so far in the young company that is Fight Life?
Oh man, Fight Life is awesome. It's really cool. I enjoy it. It's definitely a cool experience. Because you got all of our guys are there. Like all the New England scene is there. Like you said, me, Kylon, Haven, Ichiban, Wiz and Curls, like TJ Crawford. They got guys like Speedball Mike Bailey coming in to wrestle some of the younger guys. And hopefully that can happen with me. I'd love to wrestle Speedball. He's awesome. But I've had a lot of good matches there. I enjoyed my match with TJ a few weeks ago over there. The match with Oliver was awesome. He's sick. That was an awesome match. And just any match really I've had there so far has been awesome. Like every match I've loved in their own way. Like the venue that they had a few weeks ago was absolutely just beautiful. Like I don't even know how to describe it. Like it felt like an old school like Ring of Honor, like the Tron in the back. Like it was just very, very, very cool. Very cool. So I love Fight Life.
And I have to ask, just because you're talking about being a singles competitor and a tag wrestler, do you have a preference on which one you like to work?
I really don't, because sometimes I'm like, yeah, I like singles wrestling more. And then I'm like, no, like this tag team wrestling is awesome. Like I majoritively do tag team wrestling. It's really rare that I do like that I do singles now. I think I do singles like if me and Kai can't make it on an open, then we'll step in and do a singles match here and there. Like you've seen that. Like I've wrestled Alec. Kai's wrestled Alec. Like I wrestled Brad Hollister a few months ago, and that was awesome. I just wrestled Willie Yuta there. So like there's a bunch of singles matches that I've had that I like. There's a bunch of tag matches that I like. But like right now, there's not really a preference. Obviously, I would say tag team wrestling because that's what I'm doing the majority of. And it's just so much fun.
Was there a part of tag team wrestling when you first started doing that was a little harder to get used to, or where you just felt like you're a natural and it came natural to you as singles wrestling?
Tag team wrestling is so much more difficult than singles wrestling. Like it really is. Like there's a lot that goes into it because now you're not thinking about yourself. You also have to think about your tag partner. So like there's a lot of other stuff that same thing with Kai. He'll say the same thing. Like it's a two completely different matches. Like in singles, it's literally just it's you. And now in tag team wrestling, you have to focus on someone else and now two other people across the ring instead of one. And sometimes the matches are a lot longer. And people are like, oh, you get to take a break on the outside. It's like, it's not for long though. It's like a few seconds But I definitely think that like tag wrestling was definitely hard to get, and me and Kylon are still figuring it out because we've only been teaming for a little over a year now.
I mean, for only being a year together, you guys have great chemistry. That's definitely for sure. I don't know if you can clue us in a little bit on some of the ways you guys build chemistry outside the ring.
Yeah, we trained together. Like we trained together. So like we always used to. We actually wrestled so many times. We've had so many matches together, 1-on-1, that like before we became a tag team, that we just have so much chemistry. And we hang out all the time. Like we're pretty much together literally the entire weekend because we have shows, whether it's open. Like tomorrow will be tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whatever, and then we're just the whole weekend together. And sometimes we hang out during the week, whether it's to go to the gym or just to study and watch wrestling. So I think chemistry doesn't even build in the ring, and most of it just builds out of the ring.
So we just like to ask for people who are kind of getting into the wrestling scene or becoming wrestlers themselves, and maybe it's somebody who did get paired with a tag team partner. Do you have any suggestions of somebody that's been doing it for a little over a year? Kind of just those baby steps to start getting chemistry with somebody you might be paired up with.
Yeah, just try to, if you're close with them, just get together and just hang out. Just like if you can become like a tag team like outside of the ring, then you'll be fine. Like me and Kai are literally like we're best friends, and we tell everybody that. Like, and it's literally the easiest way to get chemistry with someone is to be comfortable with them. If you're like not too comfortable with somebody, like when you see me and Kylon in the ring, that's just us chilling out at like going to McDonald's, just having fun. Like that's just us. Like that's literally just us. That's also why I feel like we got such a good connection with the crowd at Wrestling Open, is because we're just us. We're like, we don't really, put on any kind of like hat or anything. Obviously we turn ourselves up to 10 and, we go out there and do what we can do, but we're just us at the end of the day. So if you got a tag partner, just be who you guys are outside of the ring. Don't be afraid to just be yourself.
Yeah, I feel like the open crowd really is drawn to characters like that. Like I know for myself, like I love, people like you guys, the Miracle Generation, and also definitely a huge fan of Brad Hollister because we had him on the podcast a few weeks ago, and like he is just as eccentric in the ring as he is outside the ring, it seems. Yeah. But when it comes to building that crowd interaction, you said just being yourself, but is there anything else like a little extra, and not specifically for the Wrestling Open crowd, but any crowd in general that you find works better? Maybe something you give as advice for somebody.
All wrestling crowds are completely different. Like you can go to a Fight Life crowd and it'd be 10 times different than a Wrestling Open crowd, even a Beyond Wrestling crowd versus a Wrestling Open crowd, because the White Eagle is literally like there's a bar downstairs. So sometimes you just have random people that just come in and they're like, oh, it's wrestling for $10. Let me see it. And then they get absolutely shit faced and they don't even know what's going on. They just see this giant ring and people are fighting, and you have to wrestle in front of people like they don't know what wrestling is. That's the best piece of advice I've got. Walk out the curtain not knowing that they don't know wrestling. Like pretend that they have no idea what wrestling is. Pretend that they have no idea who you are. And that's some of the best advice that Drew gives to all the guys. Is he just says like, even if you're one of the top guys here, pretend they have no idea who you are. Never expect anything from the fans. That's just to keep it simple. Never expect anything from them because they don't wrestling doesn't owe you anything, and you've heard that so many times. But like, definitely walk out not expecting that the fans don't know who you are.
That's definitely great advice, but it tends not to be an issue when it comes to Wrestling Open because that crowd is always just so hot for everyone, every single match. It's one of the most unique and most fun crowds you get to be a part of. What's it like just seeing that environment and like being it's more interactive too, since there's no like barriers. Like you guys can get tossed into the crowd. Sometimes it's the crowd members catching you guys after a fall.
Yeah, the crowd it's awesome. Like I remember the first time me and Kai went up to Beyond. It was just like, because we've seen all the clips, we've watched all the footage. Like one of our best friends, Richard Holiday, he's the one that pretty much like helped us get there. And he would be the one wrestling at Beyond Wrestling and be like, we see the fans are right on the ring. And we're like, that must be crazy. Because we've never been a part of anything like that ever, like at all, where the fans are like right there and they can see you and they can damn near slide in the ring if they want to. Like, it's definitely a crazy atmosphere. And seeing Wrestling Open grow from literally episode 1 where there was like 30, 45 people there all scattered around to now being like drawing 250 people, almost 300 people, and like filling this place up and having growing an actual fan base. It's just awesome because it's a very natural homegrown fan base.
Do you have like a really memorable interaction at Open with fans? Maybe something you just didn't see coming, or anything like that?
I have two, but the one is on my birthday last month. I wrestled. My birthday fell on Open, and I remember the week or two before Alex's birthday was on Open, and they just coated him with streamers. And I was like, oh, that's so sick. Like that'd be cool if they did that for me. But I'm like, I always go into a match down. I'm like, they don't know who I am. But they're not gonna do anything. So it was a giant 8-man tag that we had. I think it was myself, Kai, Ichiban, and Tyree Taylor. And it was main event, Brad Hollister and Steve Stetson. And it was the main event. And we walked out there, and literally the second we hopped in the ring, they just coated the ring with red and yellow streamers. And like they just kept coming. They just never they were just coating the ring. And that was so unexpected because it was awesome just to see like the fan base is like so it's like they're not even fans, they're like family, like realistically, because they come over to the merch table and they just talk to you for a while, and they just want to see how you're doing. You want to see how they're doing. Like there's one fan that had a kid during like the early seasons of Wrestling Open, and they made a cardboard cutout of them and put them in the crowd just because they couldn't be there. And like so like the fan base is awesome. So I definitely think me getting just coated with streamers on my birthday was awesome, so unexpected.
Now you said you had two, so I don't know if the second was a little bit worse.
Oh no, it was great. It was definitely my match with Yuta. Definitely I was very nervous for the reaction that I was going to get, because I'm like, okay, like I know that they like me, but this is Wheeler Yuta. Like this is like beyond. When you think of Beyond Wrestling, you think of Wheeler Yuta. That is Beyond Wrestling, and I know that was a Beyond Wrestling crowd because they drew like 300 plus people. Like that was the biggest attendance we've ever had. And I'm just like, oh my God, I don't know how this is going to go. And I walked out and got such a good reaction. And it was like, let's go Flash, let's go Yuta, let's go. It was like so 50-50. And it just hyped me up so much. And like the crowd definitely got me into that match for sure.
That's awesome to hear, because we were both in the crowd for that match. And I was actually curious about that too. Like before the match, I'm like, I'm curious how like split the crowd's going to be. Cause Yuta, as you said, he's been the face of Beyond for a while, and he's just so personal and really interacts with the fans so much. And then you're the tag champ, man, and you're also like personal, one of the favorites. Like everyone talks about Alec Price being the ace. I think you're right up there too. And and I was expecting a little lean toward Wheeler Yuta, but it was split down the middle, and you guys just burned the house down. It was a really great match, guys. Well, Dustin.
Well, thank you. That match was so much fun. Like Wheeler is like really freaking good, and I've said that, like I've known that. So that was definitely it was a very unexpected match too. Like I was not expecting to get Yuta. When they announced that Yuta was going to be there, I was like, oh, that's freaking awesome. And then I see the match posted, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, here we go. Time to put on freaking working shoes. It's time to go. Like it was definitely a really crazy experience. But like definitely the crowd, I had no idea. That was actually my biggest fear. Not even the match. I was like, if this crowd like leans towards him, I'm not gonna know what to do. Like, I'm not like, if they start booing me, I'm gonna be like, damn, I really had no idea what the crowd was gonna be like. But they were just perfect. And like you said, my profile picture on Zoom, that's actually from the entrance from the Yuta match. I saw a fan with a Wrestling Open flag, and I was like, it was just a different night. That night was awesome.
No, that truly was a special night. And that was my first time ever going to Wrestling Open, was at that show. Mm-hmm. So you guys definitely left an imprint on me. And I think it's just so funny because Wheeler actually was I don't remember if he was the main event or one of the co-mains, at least, of the first show I ever went to for Beyond in general. He was fighting Jeff Cobb, and that was like one of my first experiences to Wheeler, because I was a little unfamiliar from him on the indies. And then once he got to AEW, I was like, okay, I recognize this dude. I love this dude. Yeah. But like you said, he is just one of those guys that I associate with Beyond, especially. But like you said, I mean, you guys tore the house down. I was so impressed with that match, and I was screaming. I'll admit I might have been on the Wheeler side. I won't lie, but I'm a little bit of a Wheeler fanboy around here. But but if you were to get him again in a match, would you want to be like another just straight up singles match, or would you maybe want to take a stipulation to it?
We could. I'm down to do. I'm down to do it 100 times again. Like it was so much fun. It was so much fun. Like he is just such an awesome person. Like he's just awesome. Just a great guy and such a good wrestler. Like so good. The one thing I was nervous about was I'm not a technical wrestler at all, and I'm like he is gonna tie me up like a pretzel. And I'm done. I was like, oh, that's it. Like I'm not at all technical, so that was also another fear going into it. But I'm down to do anything. I'm down to because I know him and Hot Sauce, Tracy Williams and freaking Hot Wheels. Well, I'm down to do a tag match like like we wanted to wrestle Hot Wheels last year. But yeah, I'm down to have that match 100 times again.
So, like we just mentioned, you and Wheeler, obviously great match into open, but who are some other guys who have been, beyond staples that you would like to see come over to wrestle and open?
Ooh, there's so many that already have. Like there's literally so many guys that have always came over. And the best thing about having like other talent come over is they always do seminars before the show. So that's also another great thing is whenever people pitch guys to come in, guys or girls to come in, it's just they always do a seminar beforehand. So I'd love like Yuta. There's so many, like even so like that's a tough question because there's so many beyond like originals that could just come through and just absolutely blow people out of the water. Like even John Silver, he came by and wrestled CPA, and that was awesome. That was really cool. Like having Dark Order come by through Uncharted. Sometimes like even they can come in and do a tag seminar. I know Infinity Beyond came through and did a seminar, and they did a match. And like there's so many people, like I can't even name one right now, but like anyone, literally just any Beyond original can come by at any time. Like we're always welcome.
So, I mean, you're talking about Beyond Originals and big Beyond events. We got the biggest Beyond event coming up just in a few weeks, the Wrestival. And you got quite a few matches. You have like 3 in one day, I think. Well, possibly 3 in one day. The end of the T4 Summit Tag Team Tournaments is coming to a close, and you're in the quarterfinals. And if you win the quarterfinals, you wrestle the same night in the semifinals, and I think you have another title match that same day in Blitzkrieg, ladder war.
Oh my God, yes, yeah.
How are you preparing for that? And how you think you hold up? That's 3 tough matches in a row.
Yeah, the Wrestival is going to be awesome for sure. Like, we were on the Wrestival last year. We were on every night unexpectedly. We were only supposed to be on Uncharted for the Discovery Gauntlet. And then we ended up getting put on Heavy Lives of the Crown the next night. And then we got put on the first ever episode of Wrestling Open the night after. And it's crazy to think about because last year we were like, yeah, we want to have so many matches on this year's Wrestling if they do it again. And now we do. And it's awesome. Like we're really looking forward to it. We have Wrestling Open on that Thursday. I think they just announced, I think the show was called We Love to Wrestle. Don't quote me on that, but I don't know what it was, but it was something. They just announced what the show is called. They got Blitzkrieg is on there. Yeah, we have a ladder match, or I think they say ladder hell. So whatever that means, it's gonna hurt. But those are for the tag titles over at Blitzkrieg. And then the T4 Summit. That's the T4 Summit we're looking so forward to because if we can be the first ever IWCB Tag Team Champions, that'd be insane. That would be crazy. But yeah, so right now I think our first match is with Infinity Beyond. So that would be an awesome match. And if we end up going through them, then we'll have another match and however they want to determine the finals. So it's going to be a lot of wrestling that weekend for sure.
So if you do end up making it to the finals, who would you like to see in the finals?
Me and Kylon already know who we'd love to wrestle in the finals. We'd love to wrestle Balances Forever in the finals, just for the strict reason that we want to wrestle them again, and we wrestled them last year at the Wrestival. So if it could be like a year, and if it could literally be like a year to the day or a year to the weekend that we wrestled them, that would just be awesome. Like win, lose or draw, it would just be cool to have that that moment of like we wrestled you guys when no one even knew our names, and now everyone at Worcester knows us, and it would like the crowd would be so into that match, and we just want to wrestle them again because they're awesome guys, and we didn't get to yet that we want to. But I think anyone on that list, anyone out of the quarter or the semis is like definitely someone we'd love to wrestle. Like I know Culture Inc. has been wanting to wrestle us for a long time. All the guys from this, like even guys from the South, like there's so many guys coming up from all around, like C4. We want to wrestle them. There's so many, like literally anybody.
And you mentioned, some promotions from the South and C4, obviously up in that's up in Canada, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you yourself, I know you've done a few stints in like New Jersey, Illinois. Have you, or do you coming up in 2023 have any plans to wrestle more outside of New England or maybe out of the country?
Oh yeah, we'd love to. We definitely want to. We definitely want to go to C4. We just got to get some passports. Got to get those because those will be needed. But we definitely want to go over to C4. Definitely want to go to Canada. We've been going to Black Label, which is in Indiana. It's rough because a lot of the majority of wrestling and independence right now is really just crammed in the Northeast. I think it really is, and like whether it's in Mass, Jersey, Rhode Island, New York, like it's just all in that one. For us, like 2-hour radius because we're in Connecticut, so everything's just the other direction. There's not really much in Connecticut. So everything's really in Mass, like Rhode Island, all those places. But we definitely want to get out to as much as possible. We want to keep going to Black Label in Indiana because those trips are awesome. But yeah, we want to absolutely just go anywhere, just literally anywhere we can. But definitely Canada's on the list for 2023 for sure.
That's great. And of course, we have to ask, as we are coming to the end of 2022, is there any other big plans for Dustin Waller coming up in 2023?
As of right now, not really. Like I'm not a huge goal person. I don't really have too many goals. Like me and Kylon are different with that. He has a lot of goals. I don't really have too many. Like for me, my next goal is my next match. I just try to make it the best it possibly can be. So as of that, it's tomorrow, Wrestling Open. We got, I think it's Miracle Ones, us and Ichiban versus the main event and Pedro. So we wrestled them 100 times and we're just going to beat the crap out of each other. It's going to be fun. So should be good. And obviously the one goal right now is definitely the Wrestival. Just have the Wrestival go well. Just want Wrestival to be just as successful as it can be. And we're just going to go out there and give it 100% every single match, however many matches we have.
For Wrestival, do you guys usually stay there too for the few days, or how does that work?
Last year we didn't. We just went back and forth from because we didn't know we were going to be on every show, and the White Eagle's about an hour and a half from my house, so we all just stayed at my place and we'll go up. I think me and Kai are actually going to get a hotel up there this weekend because we know we're probably going to be on there 2 of the 3 days. And even if we just want to be there to watch, might as well just stay up there instead of having to drive back and forth the whole weekend.
That's a good plan. And it's a stacked card. We see Prestige there. Prestige is there for the first time, I think, right?
That's awesome. Yeah, Prestige is definitely a place we want to get to as well.
I'd love to see you guys face Motor City Machine Guns in Prestige.
Yeah, I know they're going to be there that weekend, so hopefully we can have them maybe watch one of our matches if they're there. So, but yeah, they're awesome. So that would be one hell of a match for sure.
Yeah, I know that's one of Juice's favorites. I know if he has a tag team that he likes, he fantasy books against them. So,
yeah, bro, we love Motor City. We get most of our stuff from them. They're so innovative with tag team wrestling, and they're guys that are also killer freaking singles guys.
Mm-hmm.
And they're also a killer tag team. So we definitely take a lot of our stuff from them for sure.
And I think that's a good little transition as we come to the end of the episode here. We do have one final question for you. It's a kind of cliche question, I won't lie, but it's a potential 2-parter depending on how you answer it. So we would like to ask you, what would be your dream match of all time? Now, it can be a singles match, tag team, triple threat, any sort of match, any sort of stipulation. And it can be anybody in history, any arena, any venue in history. And, like I said, it's your dream. So you can tell us how you want to live it. We won't judge you.
Wow, that's crazy. I'm going to go, I'll go 2. I'll try to go singles and tag. I think For tag, there's so many teams. There's so many teams that me and Kylon want to face. I'm gonna go like realistic. A realistic match that we could have. I'm not gonna be like, oh, we want to face the Hardy Boys tomorrow. Like, no, but like, we definitely love the Briscoes. So the Briscoes would definitely be an awesome match anywhere. Like, we don't care where it is. We'll do it anywhere. We'll do it in someone's backyard. Like, we just want to wrestle the Briscoes. That would be cool. Obviously, FTR is an awesome team. So like any of we always talk about how tag team wrestling. I was saying it earlier, how tag team wrestling is like grown in 2022, and that's not even just on the independents. That's also on like TV, and like tag team wrestling has really became like a staple in wrestling. Like, people enjoy tag team wrestling now. It used to be like fucking the popcorn break, go grab a drink. But like now, like tag team wrestling is interesting. So I think out of like dream matches, just any like of the top tag teams, like even Motor City Machine Guns, like there's so many dream matches that we could have. But I think one that we want to have before they retire is Rock and Roll Express. That would be cool because they're still out there doing some things. That would be a really cool match to have. And singles, man, there's so many. Like, obviously the go-tos would be Ricochet and Will Ospreay. But not even a dream match, just a match that I think I could have really good. Someone I could have a really good match with is Nick Wayne. I know, when I've been up at GCW, we've talked a few times, and I'm like, dude, we gotta wrestle sometimes. Like, yeah, absolutely, like for sure. So anywhere that match can happen would be fine with me.
That's a great answer too. I know Juice is probably happy with that.
Nick fucking Wayne.
I love Nick Wayne. Yeah, he's awesome.
So I did say that was a potential two-parter. And technically, when we ask that question, they give us non-active wrestlers, but you gave us all active wrestlers in that question. So it's going to be the same question, but this time exclusively non-active wrestlers.
Non-active, okay. Non-active wrestlers? I'm trying to think. For a tag team? I'm trying to think of too many non-active tag teams. That's tough. For singles, probably like everyone can go like the go-to, like, Eddie Guerrero, because like I feel like anybody could have an awesome match with Eddie Guerrero. But I feel like either Eddie or definitely like Randy Savage. I think an old school wrestling match would be a lot of fun. Would be like just definitely a lot of fun. And I'll stay non-active because they don't wrestle. Our trainer Paul Roma, we'd love to do like Power and Glory, Hercules and Roma would be a cool, because we use their finish. So, and they invented it. So I think it's only fitting to wrestle our trainers.
So when you use somebody's finish, I know we're getting close to the end of time here, but I just got to ask, when you do use somebody's finish like that, do you ask for their blessing?
Oh yeah, we definitely asked Paul. We said, like, it's always funny the way that he explains it is like, oh, can I do your elbow drop? He's like, you can do it. It's not gonna be better than mine, but go for it. That's how he always likes to say it. And the way that he would describe the powerplex, which everyone tries to do it, and I don't usually try to make fun of anyone, but no one does it like Paul and Hercules would. Because the way that he described it, that he came up with it, was just driving to a show and his fingers were on the dashboard and he was describing to Hercules how they were going to do it. One guy would do the superplex and one guy would do the splash. Some people do the superplex where then it lands and then they jump. It's supposed to be the same time. It's so much more dangerous for everyone involved, but it's also what makes it so cool. So like, there's so many guys that try to do it, but they don't do it like Paul and Herc did it. We try to do it like that sometimes, but sometimes I'm just like, I just see Kai up there giving the super, and I'm like, oh my god, this is like terrifying. Like I don't even know where they're gonna land, and I just have to jump and just go. So like, it's definitely the timing. So yeah, we definitely asked him. We said, could we do the powerplex? And he was like, if you can try and do it like us, go for it. And I was like, we'll try, but like we'll give it a shot. The only thing we switch up is I think Hercules did a second rope superplex and Kai does a top rope superplex. So we kind of switched it up, but yeah, we definitely do ask for sure.
Well, that's great to hear, and I'm very happy to hear that because it is a pretty sweet move. I'm not going to lie. So if that got lost to history, I'd be sad. All right, Dustin. Well, officially with the last few minutes of our show here, we like to let our guests plug and promote anything they have going on, be it appearances they got coming up, social medias, merch, anything like that. So with that, the floor is yours.
Yeah, social medias, they're all at It's Dustin Waller, whether it's Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. For merch, prowrestlingtees.com/Dustin Waller. Me and Kai got all brand new shirts literally last week. So if you're ever over at Wrestling Open, we'll be there tomorrow. Saturday, Northeast Wrestling, we're going to be over there. So I think that's in Danbury, Connecticut. Either is that or no, it's not. I don't know. Something bad with the shows. It's at the NEW Arena. I'm blanking on the.
I thought that was Danbury.
Is it Danbury? No, is that because Adrian went to Danbury?
It's Bethany. Bethany.
Yeah,
Bethany.
Bethany, that's the go-to. NEW Arena in Bethany. So we're there on Saturday. And yeah, Wrestling Open every Thursday. As Drew always says, it every Thursday forever. So that's usually where you can find us.
Very cool. Well, Dustin, again, thank you so much, brother, for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you tonight.
No, thank you for having us. I appreciate it.
And that was Dustin Waller joining us on Top of the Cage for another interview. Love to have him on. I said in an intro, I said during the interview, he's a stallion in the ring. Expect just banger after banger after banger from him. In 2023, even more bangers. Hopefully we get that Motor City Machine Gun match, because he said that they draw stuff in it, and it's very obvious. I think that's why I gravitate toward that Miracle Generation so much, because that's my comparison. That's always my comparison. So it was really funny that that's on purpose. It's not just a coincidence. So hopefully they'll lunk up a Wrestival and maybe plan something. I don't know. Maybe get on Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin's radar.
Maybe we'll see one of them come over to Open. That would be really fun. I would be there in a heartbeat if I saw that match on the book.
Yeah, that would draw. I think that would break the record that they set with Yuta, or get very close to it.
Yep, and we have seen Shelley in Beyond before. I know he's defended the IWTV belt against Ruby Soho on one of the Fet Forevers.
Sabin, I think, might have been too, but I'm not positive about that. If you're a Beyond fan, definitely let us know if that's true.
But I think you said it best, Juice, and we said it in the intro as well. I love Dustin Waller. He's a super humble guy, and I think definitely understands the momentum he's getting, and I think it couldn't happen to a better guy, better group with Miracle Generation as a whole. And I'm super excited to see what they have coming up. And if you're an up and coming wrestler and you're a tag team wrestler, I think this one's a good interview and a good listen for you too, because he gives out some good wisdom. And yeah, I'm super excited to see what Dustin has coming up in 2023. And I'm also excited to see what we have coming up in 2023 too, Juice.
Yeah, maybe like I said in our interview with Dustin, maybe we'll try to tackle the 4 guests at the same time, 6-person podcast. Big hill. I saw the Queen of Indies, Tiffany, she did it with all 4 of them. And I was impressed, because I interviewed 4 people at the same time, especially when it would be the 2 of us co-hosting. Oh, that would be quite the challenge, but we'll see. Maybe it'll happen.
Yeah, we might have to outsource the editing on that one. But if you guys want to see that, we are more than willing to at least try it. You should let us know on social media, though, if that's something you'd want to see. And Juice, where can the people find us on social media?
Yeah, capital T on Twitter. I'll tell you where first. Twitter, capital T, capital O, capital T, capital C, _, capital P, lowercase o, lowercase d. That's our Twitter handle. Instagram, TOTC _POD. It's the same, all lowercase though, this time around.
And as we come crashing down to the mat on this episode of Top of the Cage, I want to thank you all so much for tuning in. And if you are listening to us on Apple or Spotify and you do not leave us a 5-star review, that means that you, specifically you, that person not leaving us that 5-star review, will not get 5-star content. And that is just a fact.
Fact.
And again, thank you all so much for tuning in, and we will catch you next time.